All right. So I just went live. We just started streaming on YouTube. So for the people that are on there and new people, welcome again. I'm Tight Stops. My name just kind of reflects my attitude towards trading. It's just been a name I've been using for a long time. It's just something that you need to have. That mentality when you're trading, especially when you're new. Um, and we can go over that kind of stuff too as we keep going along. So the first thing I'm going to talk about real quick is a candle that's two up but red, and I think people were talking about Boeing, BA. So let's take a look at BA on the daily chart. Make sure you guys mute your mic until we open up for questions. Actually, BA does not. Make sure you mute your mic, please. So BA does not have a two down up candle, so I don't know what they're talking about on that daily. So let me blow this up anyway, and we'll just go back instead of me searching through a bunch of charts for a two up, because I thought somebody said this earlier. So guys, if you can see my screen, and please mute your mic. Right click on your name and mute your mic, or I'm gonna have to mute you. There's a two up green candle right here on this day, and this is what they're talking about on a two up red candle. The candle is above the previous day's candle, and they were asking, doesn't that show some momentum? Maybe going up into the next day or in the near future. Maybe not. I mean, not necessarily, but and what I wanted to explain to them on the live and show a visual was, as you can see, that wouldn't have worked out. But the way I teach things and the way my rules are, my entry on this next day on this candle to the long side would have never even came until right here at the top of that too. So, and this is one thing in the strat world that people get confused a lot on. This is a two up, guys, even though it's red. So you need to remember that. Let me change this to green, my target entry. So what I'm saying is, though, there's no play on this. So if we're waiting on this next day, so we're waiting for this candle to see what it's going to do. There's no entry on this until right here at the top of that wick. For me personally, that's my rule. Because what happened was on this two up day, they probably gapped down overnight here and opened up pretty low on this next candle day. So I hope that answers whoever asked that earlier on a two up candle that's red. And the other thing, guys, I mean, you're not going to get a very strong.
We don't like either. We don't like either one of these games.
Hold on a second. Sorry, guys, I had to mute him. So I hope that answers the question on that particular that question earlier. Yes, it's a two up. And yes, it was showing strength at the open. Right here, it probably opened up above this previous day, went up right here, and that's why it closed. But it closed down here. So, and then it went all the way down and then closed right here. So it closed right here at the bottom of this candle. Guys, please mute your mics, man. You're killing me. It's not that hard. So yeah, and then so what I'm saying is my entry would never have been anything that was not above this wick right here. There's no play. If you stick to simple rules like that, it'll keep you out of trouble. Let's see here. See if I can find a two down green candle somewhere on. Oh, here's one right here. So this came up too. On somebody asked a question. Please mute your mic, guys.
That's because I think most people on this server, they want to trade large cap more than small cap.
Yeah, we talk mostly about large caps and options on here, so I'm not sure what you're meaning.
Hey, are you here? Okay. All right.
I'm just gonna mute you. Sorry. Make sure you guys mute your mics, guys. God damn. All right. So here's a green two down candle right here. So somebody is thinking, okay, we got a two down candle, but it's green, so it might be showing a sign of reversal. Well, as you can see, the next day that didn't happen. And this is why you have to play the price action, guys. We don't just fall in love with the stock or wait for a reversal just because we see a candle forming the next day. I mean, shit, things can change within pre-market time, after hours time, and just can totally change the direction of the market before it even opens. So we have a two down green, and if I was going to take this continuation green, my entry still would not be not until above the top of that green candle. And as you can see, it came nowhere near. So this next day, we would have waited for this candle to do its thing. Our entry would have been right here on this day, and that would have been a nice play for that day, pretty much all day long on that two up. And that was your reversal right there. So sometimes people will think they get a two down green candle, that it's starting a reversal. Well, it didn't. You went two down again, green. So, yeah, guys, take those with a grain of salt. Trying to guess what things are going to happen. I don't guess. I play things day by day. And you learn that when you're in live with me. People will say, well, don't you think it's going to go up? I don't know. Hell, anything can happen. If we're in a strong bull market, yeah, most things can keep going up for a couple of days. But right now, we're just not in that kind of market, so you're going to have to take it day by day. So let's talk a little bit about trading psychology, especially.
There's a question here just before you.
Yeah.
So if you go back to the previous candle, the two up, the red candle, you were a little bit to the right.
Right here. Yep.
So yeah, it gapped up above the previous day high. Do you enter that immediately at open, or what other confirmation you wait for?
Well, if I have a gap up, I do not chase in the morning. I want it. Unless it's just a seriously bull market day and the SPY's ripping, the Q's are ripping, diamonds are ripping, I might take that chance. But usually what happens, guys, on a gap up, it might come up first thing in the morning a little bit, and then it'll come back and retest that gap. And then that's where I'll look for my entry, is after the gap's been filled. So that's another one of my rules. If I get a gap up, I'm not chasing that gap in the morning. There's no way. It's too risky, guys. Because if you've been around and you guys those of you that watch charts in the morning, when you watch something that gapped up, what usually happens? It usually might go up a little bit, or it might immediately just come right back in. And I've seen things fill the gap within 30 seconds to a minute of the market open. People taking their profits on their overnight swings, or they've been swinging for a while, and that's where you just have to wait for those to settle down and just kind of start going sideways, and then look for your longer term entries off of your 15-minute candle or your 30-minute candle. Does that make sense on the gap question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, my advice is don't chase the gaps. Let them settle, because they usually come in. Unless, once again, it's some crazy-ass bull market day, or like GameStop last year, or AMC a couple days, they're going to buy the shit out of those. It's just, but 9 times out of 10, you know, just watching price action for years as I have, you usually see that gap get filled pretty quick. So let me go back to, I'm going to talk a little bit about psychology here in the morning sessions. Blow up my 5-minute candle chart. Zoom in here a little bit. Collapse that. So let's talk about, this goes back to psychology. When I used to have a small account, or when I first started trading, there's not a good, yeah, I mean, we could do this one here. So basically I have a, if I play the open, I have a rule. The first candle's got to open and close. It's got to be above VWAP. This one obviously closed below VWAP. So that would have gone against my rule on this next candle. But I just want to use this as an example to talk about psychology. So let's say you take this Strat entry. We got a 3-2 reversal. Your entry is the top of this wick right here. And so what happened is it went up about $1 or something. And let's say you're trying to hold that for a banger. You got a smaller account. You're trying to make some good cash on that. What a lot of new traders will do, and a lot of people with small accounts, is they'll hold this, and it held near right at the entry, which is fine. We want to set our stop a little below. But here's what new traders will do. They're like, shit, I got a small account. I can't trade that much today. I'm going to hold this thing. So what happened here? This thing just completely crashed all the way through, down through VWAP. And now you're in panic mode. And you're like, okay, now I really got to hold this thing. And yeah, it would have worked out for you. I need to find a better example that's going to not work out. But let me try to find another day where it kind of went up and reversed on you. Sorry, I gotta find something really good to look at. VA had some nice clean openings the last few days. And I'm lagging a little bit here, guys, because I got 3 things doing lives and recording right now, so sorry about that. Alright, so let's just use this for example on SPY. You took this entry here, you got the 2 close on the VWAP, above VWAP, or entries right there. Maybe it made a nice run. But let's say you're just trying, you're trying to hit a home run, you're trying to, make some, a good percent on your contract. So you decide to hold this to see if it wants to keep going. So what happens is, with a smaller account, you went below your entry. Now you're crashing below VWAP. And now a lot of new traders, what they'll do is they'll hold this thing. And they'll hold it, and they're just going to get crushed. I mean, you buy a weekly contract on this SPY here, or you buy a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday contract, same day expiration. I mean, you just got murdered. You probably lost 80% of your contract right there, if it's a 0 DTE contract. And so as time's going on that 0 DTE contract, yeah, it goes back up, but you're down so much, your contract's already screwed because the state is now killing you. Even this move back up, you're probably not even back to break even yet. So what I'm trying to say is guys, when you're in a move and you did try to hit a home run on this play and you started to come back in below your entry right here, once you started getting near this, below your entry or close to this VWAP, you need to start cutting your losses, because this is exactly what's going to happen, and what happened to me in the past and what's happening to, I know, people on this live right now, is you're holding these things and you're holding stuff and you're getting just the crap beat out of you. Whereas what you should be doing is you buy this entry. Let's say you buy 3 contracts. You come up here, it starts coming in right there. You want to cut a couple contracts and take profits on those 2, and then set break even stop on that last contract. And then when it started to come all the way in on that last contract, it just stopped you out, break even, and then you're up profit on those 2 contracts. Now, sometimes small accounts can only buy 1 contract. So, because of that fact, you can only buy 1 contract. That's why you guys hold stuff, and why I used to hold stuff too. So what you want to start doing is, you take that entry, you get a nice run. You still want to hold it because you're trying to home run. Now you're starting to lose money right here a little bit, but we're still above VWAP. You know, we can still hold. And then once you start getting here and start coming in here again, is where you want to start thinking about profit, because you're coming up on and this is targets you need to start thinking about. Pretend this was the target, a weekly target. It rejected it. That's a great profit taking area right there. Now, let's say you still want to have that 1 contract and you're trying to hit that home run. Once you start coming back down here and you start below your entry back here, you need to cut this. You need to cut the contract. You guys have to change that mentality, and you have to start doing that. And just start and take that little loss where it starts coming in here below your entry. And then what you want to do is wait for another, whether it's this stock or another stock, find another entry to buy somewhere else. Because SPY can come back. Let's say it came back here, and you bought it above VWAP, and it just kept going. You know, you can. It's what Rob will always call doing battle. And it's just this is one thing about the Strat and trading psychology is, and why, you know, I constantly refer to myself as tight stops just for reminders. I know I can come back into a trade and just take this small loss. And when you're in a position, as you keep growing and building your account, what you can start doing is, and this is the debate in the Strat world, and I'm on the other side of it, but what I'll do is I'll buy my contracts. I'll buy 3, 10, 15, 20, 50 contracts on my entry, and as I'm going up, I'll just start taking my profits. So let's say I bought 30 contracts. Let's just say I bought 3 contracts of SPY, like going back to here. I enter. Yeah, this candle starts coming in, but I got to give it a little time. We get it start getting back, start getting profit, and we start getting red. So I'll take my contracts off right here. We're testing a magnitude. It rejected. So take 2 contracts off, then hold that last one and set your stop at break even. Because trust me, a lot of those contracts that I've left over and set up break even stops, they've come back in a little bit and they just freaking went off. And that's where you can hit your bangers on your contracts, guys. But if you're trying to hit home runs on 1 contract, guys, I'm just telling you right now, from my experience and talking to tons of other people, that's where you're going to really blow up your small accounts. So that's one of my little psychology tips that I wanted to talk about for us, for people with small accounts and, you know, not able to buy a bunch of contracts on the fly. So with that, I am going to open it up to questions now, because I don't want to talk forever and ever. I want to start answering your questions, and Strat questions, option questions, magnitude, whatever you want to talk about. And if you want to unmute yourself, just right click on your name, and I'll try to unmute some of you guys so you can talk now. There you go. How do I know it hit magnitude? So Bug, what I'll do is I'll just pull SPY here on the daily. I use daily from the magnitude, guys. So let's say on Tuesday I buy this, if SPY breaks above Friday's high, I enter there, my magnitude is going to be that previous day's high. Now, you're saying, well shit, that's really far away. It is, and that's a good question. So what I'll do is on a big candle like this, is I'll do 50%. So I'll set a magnitude on that as 50% of that candle. And see if it wants to test 50% and then retrace or break through the 50% mark and keep going. Let's find a better example of something that doesn't have such a big mother bar. Let's go look at Facebook. Come on. Yeah, a lot of things in the tech world are going to have mother bars. Let's look at airlines. And when you have big mother bars like that, just like I do give an example, just set 50% of the previous day's candle as your first magnitude. And American Airlines, choppy. So here we go. My entry's right here at the top of, if we're going long, what is that, 47.54. Magnitude is 49.27. And then what I also have on, that automatically draws my charts, my blue lines are the previous month low and the previous month high. Weekly is white, low, high, and then day automatically draws on my chart too, high and low red. So let's pretend it's still Friday. My first magnitude before this candle is going to be this weekly white line. Because anything, you guys got to remember, all the big boys and, you know, just tons of chart experience, things are going to get tested when they're going up or down. And if we're playing this Friday, it's going to retest that weekly high. And just, you know, you don't have to take my word for it. Just chart watch next week on any stock that's coming up on a weekly or monthly target, and they're going to test it. And sometimes it'll just break through, which is great. I mean, that's always fun, but it's usually, most of the time, it's not going to be the case. So what the market makers will like to do is, sometimes they'll come up through this weekly, maybe a little bit, few cents, 10 cents, and then they'll come back down and retest underneath because they're trying to stop you out. And that's just what they do. And they'll do the same thing on the daily targets. Sometimes you'll see at the open too, you know, it'll break up that previous day high, come up a little bit, and then it'll come back and retest below. We were playing a couple things Friday that did that. Let's see here. Zoom in. Yeah, Ford's a good example here. And good market maker. No, I didn't play Ford Friday, it was Thursday. I was off Friday, sorry. So this is last week's high. So we took this, so Friday it went 2 down. I did enter right here after this first, right here at the open after the first 5 minute. And Ford contracts are cheap. I did buy a ton of them, I bought like 60 of them. And so I gave it some room. And this candle did come in. And then it re-came up, and then it hit a banger, and I started taking my contracts off right here on this 2 down. But what they did here, this candle came up, kind of got close to the weekly, then it rejected, came up to the weekly. Well, it came here, it went down, and then it came back through the weekly. And that's just what they're going to do. They're going to mess with your head on your targets, especially. And if you look on Friday, actually no, let me see, Friday didn't come anywhere near the high. Yeah, my lines are already drawn from Thursday. Oh, well, it did the previous day from Thursday. Look how it just came here and just stayed around Friday's low, or Thursday's low right here. Guys, it's so important to have these marks on your charts every single day. Your dailies, your weeklies, and your monthlies. And I'll share, the script is actually in the script channel for you people. I know you're going to be asking. It's free.
Tight stop. Thanks for doing this, by the way.
Yeah, man. What's up?
How do you or do you play inside bars at all?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. How do you go about that? I already have this TOS scan where I can only find inside bars and all of that stuff, but I'm not sure how to play it all the time.
Well, don't pick a side, first of all. You never pick a side, guys. And this is what, I mean, and if you guys are following a bunch of people on Twitter and gurus and going, hey, Amazon's going to break tomorrow, they don't fucking know. Sorry, I hate to be so blunt. I mean, they just don't. So, at the top of the one is your entry for long. At the bottom of your one is your short. And guys, it's that simple. I mean, I hate, and people are going, it's not that, it is that simple. This is how I make a living every single day, playing these breaks every single day. And if they don't, and if I play the break, and it starts coming in, I just cut it. And I'll wait for another re-entry of the break. And that's how you manage your money. And yeah, small accounts, I know exactly how you feel. You can only trade 1 or 2 contracts maybe a day, and that's just the way it's going to have to be. And I wish somebody would have kicked me in the ass a long time ago and told me the same thing. You can't hold those losers, guys. You just can't do it anymore. And,
Sam, I don't know if their background noise is too much. Sorry, but I think that what you just said is perfect, right? Like it's Godzilla. So you entered on a 5, okay? Now, where do you decide that it's going to reverse, right? Like, okay, I'm fucking out, right? Like, this isn't going my way, I'm out, right? Because that's one of the big pieces of the strat. So what time frame, because you're not doing it on the 5 minute, what time frame are you looking at if you entered on a 5 to say, like, no, this isn't going in my direction, I need to get out, right? Like, that was one of the questions that somebody asked me in Discord today.
So, yeah, let me pull up a 5 minute for you guys. Sounds like you're having a party.
Watchers on the NFL playoffs, but I'm sitting here on my phone, gotta stay connected.
Oh, man. No, it's all good, dude. It's all good. I appreciate you having me on. All right, let me blow up the 5 minute for you. And we'll just pretend we're in Friday's trade on whatever I got up here on the chart. I know it's hindsight's 20/20, but whatever. Okay, here's a good example on United Airlines to the short side. So,
can I actually give you a request? Look at Apple.
Yeah, from what, Friday?
Yeah, look at Apple on the 5 on Friday.
All right.
You got your VWAP turned on, so it's going to be beautiful, actually. I think this kind of sets up the conversation that using VWAP, how you can color reversals about to happen. So we're going to look at standard deviation 1, which is your dashed lines, and you got standard deviation 2, which is your solids, right? So you're looking at the 5.
Yep.
You entered on the 5. You might maybe look at a bigger time frame, but I want to maybe like draw your attention to around like 10:15ish or so on the 5-minute chart. Yeah.
Okay.
Now look at the standard deviation that we have here, right? Like I was reassessing this play because I got in it and I didn't take my gains when I probably should have, right? I screwed myself. But I got in at the bottom because, I mean, ultimately I have a 2-down hammer, right? A 2-down green hammer, hammer-ish, that we're looking at like 10:15 or whatever.
Right.
That one, yeah. So I'm sitting here looking at this, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like if it broaches the high of this, the next candle, if we break the high of this, I'm in. So I did it. So the next thing that ended up happening, right, I ended up setting my standard 20% stop loss, and I got stopped out.
So you took this long?
I did, yeah, right, and it was for a scalp. I mean, straight up scalp. I took it long though because, like, it to me it bounced off the bottom of that VWAP, that standard deviation 2 VWAP. It looked good, and I thought it was going to go back through VWAP, which it ultimately did. But you see the volatility of that next candle. It's because I do, like, when I place orders on POS, I just straight up put them in for 20% stop loss. The IV fucked me. Right? Like, the IV, because of the movement, screwed me, so I got stopped out. But ultimately, the play went in the direction I thought.
Well,
So
it was also a 0 DTE contract, which is not going to help your 20% stop.
Definitely not, but it is what it is.
Yep. So, and once again, hindsight's 20/20. But I wouldn't have had a percent stop on anything, even on a 0 DTE. It would have been at the bottom of this entry candle. I mean, yeah, it's a bigger risk, but you know, also that Apple contract probably, if you bought like a 170, what was it? A 172 is probably what, 40 cents.
Yep, it was actually about 38, 35, something like that. Yep.
Yeah, and you know, you buy 3 contracts. It's just. I mean, I hate to say this, but if you set percent stops, guys, I mean, it's going to be frustrating. And that's why I usually use a candle stop. And it depends on, and Tesla's a different story, obviously, or Google or Amazon, but.
And so exactly what you said is where I want to take that conversation, right? Like, so I entered on something actionable here, right? The 2-2 reversal. Now, where should my stop have been?
The bottom of that, this hanging 2 right here. Your entry 2. You entered on the 10:15. You entered right above the 10:15 candle, right?
Right. Yeah, I entered on the high. So you're talking about same time frame. You're not talking about maybe like looking at a bigger time frame. Like what if you blew this up to like the 15 minutes?
Nope.
What does it look like that?
I'm not moving up to a 10 or 15 minute until I'm in the money. I'm not looking at a higher time frame until I'm in the money. I got to keep it short. I got to keep a short time frame. I got to watch the price action.
Okay. So that's an interesting point that I didn't realize actually. Why?
Yeah, and guys, you don't want to switch your time frame until you're in the money. I mean, I usually am at least 30% in my contract before I switch to a 10. At least 30%, because I can't see the reversal happening I gotta see it happening faster. I can't watch the 15. It's gonna fuck me in the head. Watching that wick go up and down and that candle go up and down on a 15. I want to see the price action.
Now, is that specifically the Friday, like, 0 DTE contract, or are you talking about in general? You enter on a 5, you want to be looking for reversals on the 5 then at that point, too, to get out, or what?
Well, if I'm playing a 0 DTE at 10:15 in the morning, I'm not worried about losing 20% of my contract. You're gonna have to change that mentality too, because you start playing 0 DTEs later in the morning. You know, you're gonna have to expect to either lose some money or make a good killing on it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, your stop should always be that candle. You shouldn't do a percent. and exactly why, because you would have made a nice big banger on that. And it's hindsight 2020, obviously. Now, if this candle would have came down and went right here at tested that candle at the bottom or came right below it, you got to stop out and take your 25% loss. I mean, it just sucks.
Right. So for the folks on the line, then, so you enter on a 5 on the high, right? Like your previous 5 that you enter on is the high. In general, the rule should be that you're gonna exit or stop out on the low of that same candle you entered. Is that good?
Unless it's a Tesla or Google or Amazon, you have to totally change that, because a 5-minute Tesla candle can be $500. You can lose $500.
Right. Yeah. I mean, those are bigger bets than I'm willing to make. But when we're looking at something a little more stable, an Apple, a Microsoft, a Facebook, stuff like that. You enter out a 5 on the high. Again, try to catch that reversal for a 2 down, 2 up. Your stop loss is going to be on the bottom, the low of that same 2 candle that you entered on.
Yeah, but one thing I do want to ask you too is why are you taking a low guess? Why are you trying to guess a low here? I guess is my question. And I'm not picking on you. I'm just trying to.
No, and to me, like I had a fuck off account, like with a bunch with $500. Like this is me like trying to take $500 and do something with it, right? Like what can I do? And so I'm experimenting with the VWAP that you've introduced me to, and the Strat that I know quite well. And so I look at a hammer here. And I see a standard deviation 2 kind of bounce, let's call it that. Like, I mean, it's weird how that lined up so nicely on the charts here, wow. So I'm like, you know what? All right, let's take it. Now, I have some standard orders set in place, and normally I don't do them on Fridays, but I did because, honestly, my brain hasn't been with me a lot because of, work is making me split in 2 kind of folks on the Fridays. But anyway, so I just, right-click my mouse, and I say buy. There it is, and all of a sudden my order goes in with a 20% stop loss. Damn it! Okay, because of that crazy move that you see with that hammer, though, on the shooter, let's call it shooter on the next candle. The IV spiked, and I got stopped out very quickly when it came down, like in an abrupt minute. Like that's it. Like that's all it takes. Yeah. So normally on Fridays I don't play with stop losses, but this is me not being in it, and that's one of the things I've acknowledged about myself over the last like 2 or 3 weeks. If I have to do actual work, I probably shouldn't be trading.
Yeah. Well, and this is another great video we need to do on the second deviation on the VWAP, because you can take entries off that. It's a more people that can it's not something I want to teach a lot about for new people, but that is the right move off the bottom standard, the second deviation, because it bounced off of that. That's basically a support level for VWAP guys. It's a secondary. That's actually a secondary support level to the downside. So what he was doing is he's playing this support here, and he took the entry off that support, which was the right play off of that. It's a riskier play, you're below VWAP, but it's a good scout play too. It can work.
And that's all it was. But I wanted to make this also kind of address your previous VWAP, live that you did. Look at how well Apple. You can scroll through the rest of the day. Let's move on besides my screwed up trade. But look how Apple plays along these VWAP lines. So you have standard deviation 1, the dotted line, right? Sitting there at 11 something. So it goes up to the high. After my failed play, it goes up. And then you have it sitting here around the dotted lines at the top. A little further back then. A little, maybe there you go. So it sits there at the top. It tries, it doesn't work out well. And then ultimately it kind of goes down. It fails the actual VWAP, and then goes down all the way to standard deviation 2. 2, And then, I mean, like, look at how it hovers. It's quite interesting. I mean, I was staring at this on Friday after, like, reassessing some of my losses, and, like, wow. This is actually quite a precise method, especially coupled with the Strat,
Yep.
to make things really nice. Because, I mean, in case you didn't realize this, but like what I was looking at was a 2-down, 2-up entry earlier, and you could have gone short with it. I mean, honestly, like it could have been almost a 2-1-2 a little bit after that play. Microsoft kind of ended up being the same way. Spy, Facebook, they all kind of ended up being the same way. They sit here and bounce around these VWAP lines, and it's actually quite a beautiful thing. So, I mean, the Strat mixed with one extra indicator only makes you a stronger player. And it's quite apparent in just me reassessing some of my losses on Friday. Where, I mean, like I called out bangers for y'all. Microsoft, like people were saying they, have 44% here, or 80% there. Spy, same thing. People were winning money, getting money out of the deal, which is great. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. But
VWAP is incredible, guys. I mean, it's freaking incredible. And it definitely, especially on these big tech names and your big Dow names and your futures, I mean, it's gonna play off VWAP. I mean, and that's why I have, and for guys, including Zilla, like if you want to play with a $500 account, I would only take this candle closes above VWAP here. Your entry's right there. It worked all the way to the first deviation. You can take your profit. It retested it and rejected it. Take that scalp right there. The one thing you guys want to look at too, because what's one of the other things, we're at lunchtime here. We don't trade at lunch, do we? And there's a reason I don't trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just guys. Lunchtime is like, I mean, every once in a while you'll catch an anomaly with some news or something. But guys, from like 10:30, 11, okay, I'll use Eastern time. From 11:30 Eastern time to 12:30, 1 o'clock Eastern time, you want to avoid. It's just because look at where the price action started after lunch right here. Tested, rejected. This closes here. We're entering.
Oh, flip over to Spy. It gets so much worse.
Oh, I know. I mean, if you go through a bunch of charts tonight, guys, after you get off with me, and go look at your lunch times, and just look at the price action, guys. It's a shit show. Sorry, I'm lagging because I got so many things going on this one computer. I finally got all my screens up. Thank God, back up. So let's look at Friday lunchtime SPY real quick. So 10:30 right here, goes up a little bit, get a nice little run from, you get a little bit of a run. And then look at the lunchtime shit show. Till 11:30, 11:45, it kind of takes off there. So right a little bit, right before lunch is over, that one did puke. But right here, you get your 2 closed below VWAP, entries at the bottom of the 2, nice short scalp below VWAP, all the way to your second deviation band. That's your target, and you can just take your profit right there at the target and be done. Because look at how this thing just respected this secondary target on your VWAP. It's crazy. It's crazy. Look at this right here, same thing. Look at how it respected it again. So yeah, VWAP is very powerful. And guys, if you have a smaller account, I wouldn't be taking stuff below VWAP long. It's just one of my rules. Unless you're trying to do what he was talking about, which once again is just not something I would do with a small account, but he can do it. He's got some money he can play with, but it just goes sideways respecting this level. You finally get a 2-2 continuation right here. There's your entry right there, and look at this run all the way to VWAP. And VWAP is a target on a scalp, guys. There's your first target, there's your second target. Rejected it, take your profit. sideways action all the rest of the day, and then power hour came and they bought up SPY into the weekend. Did that make sense, Justin?
Oh, for sure. No, I mean, like I said, I wanted to draw out some of my mishaps so that other people can learn. Again, small account that I wanted to be able to maybe do something with. I imploded it in a day. It was fun. And I'll try again, next week. Like, that's it. But, yeah.
Cool.
You said that script is. You said that script is in the Discord already.
Yeah, the script for the high and lows and the VWAP script is in TOS studies under learning area. And I got a bunch of VWAP videos on my YouTube channel. I'll do secondary. I'll do first and secondary support and resistance lines for VWAP this coming week.
I have a question if you don't mind. Sorry I'm bugging you tonight.
No, man, it's all good. I like the interaction. What's up?
Yeah, first, I see your VWAP clouds, the green and red, but what are these other, the blue and yellow clouds?
They're EMA clouds. I use them for trend trading when I'm actually in a trend. Those are on YouTube too. So basically, what I'll do is let's see, SPY. I'll switch to a 10-minute chart when I'm in a trend, and I'm in profit. If I'm trying to hit a banger, is basically what I use them for. I'm trying to hit 100% or 80% or 200%, whatever it may be. Let's see. So let's say you took this entry right here above this red 3. You're green in your trend on the 10. Or actually, you took it and you're in the trend. And then that's your support right there, that green cloud, if you're trying to hit a bigger play. It's a little more, the cloud is a trend thing. And guys, the cloud is there when you're in a trend. Let me make that very clear. As you can see here on SPY, if you took the open off the 5-minute, it held the trend all the way till right here. And there's I think 4 or 5 videos on the cloud to stay in trends. So if you're scalping, the clouds aren't really that relevant.
Another question about this psychology, and about this previous question as well. So sometimes I got burned with that. So I do take a trade, and then it comes down, and you hold and you hope. So now I'm very scared because some trades you take them, and it messes with your brain. It's red, green, there's some volatility. And like the other day with United, started doing that, red, green. So I just got to break even, and it kept going after that. So with small accounts, how do you focus on that? Because red, green just messes with you.
Yeah, I mean the candles are red and green for a reason. They're made to make you psychologically think about things.
No, I mean red, green with profit and loss, profit like.
No,
5%.
What I'm saying though
10% down.
Yeah, I'm just saying though that just watching a red and green candle can mess with your mind, and that's what you kind of have to learn to. And a lot of people will change their red candle to just an outline.
Do me a favor. Go into your settings and just do outline. Don't actually do colors.
Yeah. But let's look at United Airlines for you. What day? Was it Friday you did the trade?
When I guess we took it Thursday or Wednesday. I don't remember. I think it was cold in the room.
Oh, right here. Yeah, Thursday morning we took United Airlines. Yes.
Yeah.
But we took it really early. Did you get in late?
Yeah, so I bought this white line, I guess, but it came back, so I was coming down and going up this week. I started getting a loss and then profit, loss, profit, and I just because I got burned a lot, I decided to just take my money there
Right.
and nothing.
You might have joined a little later than that white line there. Tim, do me a solid and go switch your candles if you don't mind in your settings just to no color.
Yeah, let me see. Application.
Because with that wick in the third or I don't know small candle, like I started losing and then came back to break even and made some profit, then back to break even, and I decided
Yeah.
to.
So keep in mind when you're playing weeklies, and I can't stress this enough. I love weeklies. That's what I do. Like that's my jam. But you're talking like a 5 minute, 10 minute play. Because theta, right? And we might need to maybe do a thing on the Greeks, Tim, but theta, yes, theta can kill you. And as soon as things start moving sideways, theta is your worst enemy because it eats at everything that you do. I mean, I've watched, when I was learning about the Greeks, I've watched my $1 contract as the underlying moves sideways. I've watched the contracts like lose pennies by the minute, even though like nothing's actually happening with the underlying. It's sad, it's crazy, but like when you're playing weeklies, that's a reality. So what you need to understand in this case, like yeah, United went sideways from about wow, I got his name there. From about like after 9:30, like that point. I mean, when it opened, like that's sideways movement. It might have popped a little bit, so you might have been able to make like 10, 20, 30 cents, something like that, around like the 10, 45 area. But that sideways movement, theta on a weekly is killing you. Even with slow moving stocks like the Dows, like the UALs, the AALs, the Wells Fargo's, the Bank of America's, like theta is a bitch. And it's a mean lady. So keep that in mind as you trade these things. It's a quick in and out if you're playing a weekly.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. So I'm going to talk about kind of where you got in around UAL, around the white line, the weekly. So on something like United Airlines or banks, the contracts are cheaper. If you buy a bunch of contracts like me, it's obviously more risky, but, you buy one or three contracts. So you enter here above the white line, you got to have your stop right here. Because the market makers, like I was talking about earlier, they're going to fuck with you right here on a weekly break. And they did right here. They came back through. So, and the other thing, guys, psychology-wise, don't watch your contract price, guys. Don't fucking do it. And, when I'm playing Tesla and stuff, and I'm playing off of I just play off the candle on my stop. If I sat there and watched the 200 go down $200 or $300 contract, I would just sell them because I'm not playing the chart. Once you stop playing the charts, guys, it's just going to be really hard. And if you sit there and watch your contract price, you're going to psychologically going to stop yourself out too. You have to play the candle. You have to play the candles, guys. And so what I'm saying to you who asked that question, you play the white break, but you got to give yourself some room on the stop. If you committed to that play, you got to stay committed to it and just stay in it and set your stop right there. It went down 22 cents on United Airlines. You might have lost 10% of contracts if it went back below your stop. And that's and if you're afraid to lose money too, guys, that's going to be a big problem in trading. We don't want to lose a lot of money. And like I said, if I'm playing Tesla and I'm down $300 a contract, it is what it is. I don't know when I'm down. I just know that when that's not going my way and goes below my stop, then I'll go and look when I sell. Oh, I just lost a couple of G's off of 5 or 6 contracts. It is what it is because on Tesla, you can make 5 or 6 G's in 5 minutes off multiple contracts. But once again, another thing about small accounts, don't be playing Teslas and stuff, but I'm just giving that example. But for United Airlines, you got to set a bigger stop, which is down here. And once you're committed to that play, you have to stick to it. And then you want to start watching your next targets, which would have been yesterday's high, which is, we'll pretend this is it. It started to come in. It's time to start taking profits. We go 2-1 inside. I got to start taking profits. It came up to my secondary VWAP resistance, started to come back in. It's time to start taking profits. And if you bought one contract, you sell them all right there. You're just done for the day. Does that make sense? That whoever asked.
So I mean,
Yes,
while you have your candles here, like while that's not necessarily what I was thinking. Like I was looking for them to have like no colors at all. To just talk about candle psychology. No, like I don't want to know what green is. I don't want to know what red is. But let's pretend none of these candles have color, y'all. Like you can tell at the beginning, right? Like we're talking like 9 a.m. or 8:30, whatever. When that background goes black. Things look to be going good, right? They're going up, 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 up. And then even that first, like, red candle that we have, it went down, bounced off some EMA cloud that Type has here on the screen, and then kind of came, like, back up a little bit, it looks like. So, I mean, from a psychology perspective, like, you got to look at candles agnostically. That's really important, right? Look at things agnostically, regardless of the color, and you can actually understand a little bit more of like what the buying trend is. Like, look at the one that bounced right off that pink line that he has here, the VWAP line, right? Like that ended up being a red hammer. Okay, so to me that means that like, wait a second, sellers got reversed, right? The buyers came in, decided to take control of that particular time frame. So do we have a little reversal happening in our minds here? So like, guess what? The next two candles ended up popping up a little bit. So yep, exactly that area. So yep, and then all of a sudden now we're sitting here, playing up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, middle, inside, like, okay, well, great. And then all of a sudden we just have the buyers taking complete control of a candle while it was a 2 down, and then they're going 3, right? So that candle went 3. Now, to me, that is strong buying pressure. What's happening next? Guess what? We're going up. Like, that's the fundamentals of the strat here. Understanding the psychology behind candles. And psychology also equals price action in our world here. So look for your 3 and see which way that aggressive 3 went, and then guess what? It's going up in this direction. So, that would have been the point at that high where I would have said, you know what, I'm in this particular trade. And then I would have been able to ride it for, like, oh, yeah, 40 cents. I freaking hate Dow. Anyway, so, yay. But then again, 40 cents is a big move in a DIA type, index stock, so whatever.
Yeah, 40 cents in airlines is a big move, so.
Yeah, it's a huge move. And you would have, I would have definitely gotten something in the money or at the money, and all of a sudden that would have been great, and riding the gravy train. So probably the 49 call. Like, that's probably what I would have jumped on. But anyway, like, you try to look at it, and if you look on, like, Facebook, Twitter, other YouTube channels, you're going to see a lot of people say a lot of things. What you should try to do, take it to paper trading if you're hesitant, but turn off the colors of all your candles. Sorry, Buffalo just scored a touchdown. Yep. So take the candle colors off of everything that you do, and then see if you can identify a trend that way. I honestly think you're going to be very surprised with yourself when you start spotting trends and then kind of get in on those things. I'm going to mute now because this is happening.
Yeah, so the other thing is you stayed above VWAP too, so that's another indicator of strength and a continuation move. All right, anybody else have any questions, guys? We've been on here for a while.
Yeah, sorry, I can talk a lot.
It's alright. So how do you place your order when you're looking at $5 signal? So for John Yeezy, I usually only play very liquid options that don't have wide spreads. I mark it in. Yeah, because if you try to limit in on a break, you're going to get left behind. So yeah.
So on that note, if you jump in the TOS scripts channel, I did throw a scan in there for liquid options that, like in this case, they're weekly liquid options, but they can give you a good idea of what's actually liquid.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. All right. So I hope that answered your question on that. Yeah, if you're trying, you can try to limit into those other wider spreads on some other things, which sometimes I will do. I won't do it in the first thing in the morning. There's no way. It's too. If you got a 20-cent, 50-cent spread, you're down $50 a contract as soon as you buy it. And if you try to limit in, and let's say it's a 50-cent spread, your order gets filled at 50 cents and it starts crashing down, then you're red. So it's just harder to play those illiquid options and just try to avoid them. And I'll do that's another video I should do on spreads, and definitely on the Greeks too, for sure.
Yeah, I actually thought about doing a video on those myself, Tim. So maybe that's something I'll take on. As far as like picking the right contract, that was something somebody had asked. So yeah, I could probably do that one.
Yeah, we definitely, for sure, I'd appreciate it. All right, so let's see here. All right, and guys, anybody else want to jump on the mic? I can talk to you real quick, and then I'm gonna head off.
Do you place any importance on the expected move of the options for a given week that you're trading?
The expected move, so like, if it's supposed to go from 46 to 48 or something?
Yeah, when you're looking at the options pricing, like for example, I trade on a different platform. I don't trade on TOS, but it will tell me what the expected move is for the week. So plus or minus $3, plus or minus $2. Do you compute that in your trade at all? Do you kind of look at that at all and how it coordinates with VWAP?
No, I don't. I do not look at probability. I don't look at probability.
I do.
And I do not look at chance. I don't.
What they're giving you is ATR or DTR. That's it. Like if they're giving you like a plus minus 3, they're giving you the average move of stock. It's nothing fancy. And there's indicators for that in cost. There's indicators for that in Weevil. You name it. And that's it. That's all it is. They don't know which way it's going. They're straight up just giving you ATR, what's the average true range that a stock typically moves over a given time. So you give it 14 days, what's the average true range of a stock movement? You look at Facebook, it's like $10. You look at Delta Airlines, it's like $1. That's what they're giving you. So those are indicators. That definitely comes into consideration when you're picking a contract. Like I'm not gonna pick if I'm gonna play Delta, I'm not gonna pick something that's $5 out of the money when I'm trying to pick a contract. I'm gonna pick if the ATR, the DTR is $1. I'm gonna we're sitting at like 48.50. I'm gonna be picking the $49 call if I think it's going up. Just because again the average true range of the stock moves is $1. So keep that in mind. That's all you're getting. So it's a nice tool that they automatically give you, but at the same time, that's really all it is. Average true range.
Yeah. Well, I'll use I'll talk about Tesla though real quick, and when it loads here, let's say we're wanting to trade some contracts on Tesla Monday. Let me go to the chain. There we go. So Tesla can move $100 a day or can move $50. So on a Monday, what I'll do is on Tesla is I'll look down here. Right here, I got volume at 17,490 contracts. I got 28,000 open interest on these 1200s. So on something like Tesla, I can go far out of the money on a Monday and not give a shit. And people are going to go, well, you know, your delta is really, really bad. Well, no shit, it is really bad. But it's better for me because if I buy Monday morning, if I buy Tesla at 1050 for $3,000 a contract, I don't like the price action. First of all, I want to see the price action before I get murdered on that $3,000 contract. So on Monday, I'll go and I'll say, okay, Tesla can move $200 this week. Easily, Tesla can move $200. So I can go to my 1200s. It's $150 out on a Monday, and those are $220 a contract. And I'll look at the volume and open interest. And because of the volume and open interest, as this thing moves up the chain and as the price moves up, my delta is going to move up too. And yeah, I'm not going to make as much on the contract, but my risk is way, way less than this guy buying these.
That's an interesting point. What do you know what the APR is on Tesla?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's probably at least $60 a day, so $300 a week, I bet.
Okay. I was hoping maybe you had that one indicator that I've shared everywhere.
I think in TOS they call it the market maker move. In the platform I use is something different, but I think they call it the market maker's move. It's usually yellow, but
$62 a day for Tesla right now.
Yeah. So yeah, you have so it's truly in the terms of how to pick size. You're early on in the week. One of the things that I've found that's kind of an interesting, like, let's call it a hack, is if you're want to play Tesla on Monday, you see that the move is roughly like $62 a day, right? So I could roughly pick something that's 1 time or 2 times that. So like in this case, 1 times that, 2 times that, 2 times. So 120. Let's go with 120. So I could pick something that's $120 out of the money in the way that I'm thinking it's going, and I'm going to be relatively successful on that trade. It's like, you know, Tim said, it's not going to be like you're in the money where the intrinsic value just like completely like starts quadrupling on you. But you can take something that you might be buying like a 4-cent contract on, and if it moves in that direction that you're going to be moving, that you expect it to, like all of a sudden that 4 cents has 100% of the stuff to 8. So, you know, you definitely have some possibility there. In this case, Tesla, $120 out of the money. It moves the direction you're talking about. Like, guess what? All of a sudden you turned a, $500 contract into $900. Bigger gamble, but the fact is it works. And it really works early on in the week. Keep that in mind. You start getting down to Friday, I wouldn't be taking that risk with money unless you just got stuff to spend. But
on zero DTA Teslas Thursdays and Fridays, I wouldn't go more than $50 to $80 out of the money. And that's what I'm saying. You got to know what day of the week it is. Like Monday, I can buy $200 out of the money. On Thursday, I can't. I can only buy 50 to 80. And then on Friday, I got to be closer to the strike, 1 or 2 strikes out.
And it's because you're staying with the true range. That's why you're doing it at the end of the week. You're staying within that true range. You're not going to risk it, right? Like, that's that.
Yeah, because also the theta is going to kill me if I keep going farther out, too, on Thursdays and Fridays. The theta won't kill me as bad when I'm closer to in the money. Because the farther out you are out of the money, the faster the theta is going to burn.
that was my thought on it, but I appreciate the answers. Thank you.
Yep. No, and it's worth it to probably have another complete discussion about theta and gamma and delta and all the great things that go along with options that just make it more fun to play.
Yeah. And so let's see here. Now, if I, when I start hopefully having a seven-figure account one day, I won't go so far out of the money. And that's the other thing. What's your account size too? You got a bigger account. I can buy Tesla on Monday. I can buy a couple strikes out of the money with a seven-figure account. Don't need to worry about it. But what you'll see a ton of people do is they're going to buy farther out of the money on Monday because you're keeping your risk down. The other thing is IV's not going to kill you that bad either. You're not going to get as much on the IV on the win as it goes up, but you're also not going to get murdered if it goes down on the IV. So I hope that helped you out on that question.
It did, and I appreciate it very much. I have one last question. Do you ever sell premium? Do you ever keep the other side on?
I personally do not. I have such a strict rules-based option trading strategy that I also don't swing that much unless I do leaps. It's just something if it's not gonna go in my direction that day or that scalp, yeah, it's just because that's more of a thing you might do if you're trying to really swing something or do some hedging or things like that. It's just something I don't do personally.
Well, I thank you for answering my questions. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else got any questions? Damn it.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
What's up, Jersey guy?
Ain't nothing much, man. What's going on over there?
Nothing, just
That
ready.
I do have a question. I do have a question.
Yep.
On the VWAP, is it set at a specific number?
That's the beauty of intraday VWAP is you don't have to set anything, and
Right.
it's actually a true price action tool that's why I love it so much because with EMAs EMA moves with every minute, 5 minute, 10, 15, 20, single 50 or 30, 60 minute chart, where VWAP is the same no matter what time frame you're looking at.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that was the end of my question.
No, for bug on Tesla, yeah, bug. I do not do a candle stop on Tesla. Well, on Monday you can because if I'm buying 100, 200 bucks out of the money, I can give it a little room. Whereas if I bought this $3,000 contract and that candle's a $15 candle, I can lose $1,000 on that one candle. So no, I would not use it if I'm that close in the money. And that's why guys like smaller accounts, you shouldn't be playing Tesla, guys. It's just, trust me from experience, following the other gurus and gurus from my past days, and the other discords, and all they do all frickin' day long is call out Tesla, Amazon, and Google. If you want to blow up your account and get murdered and not learn anything, those are the kind of stocks to trade. Which, if you're in my lives, I don't even talk about them. I just trade them outside. I have them on my other screens, and I'm trading them on my own, but I don't talk about them because I know most of the people in my room are it's a smaller account or they're newer traders.
Yep, what I focus on is SPY on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The zero DTEs, quick, like 30% scalp. That's how I grow a $500 account to 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000. And then all of a sudden I don't have necessarily a small account anymore. I have something that I can play with to do a Tesla trade here and there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so Bugs asked me what was one of my big wins with Strat. I don't like to talk about. If you guys have noticed, I don't talk about my account. I don't talk about how much I have. It's just, it's other guys like to kind of throw that shit around. I'll give you a percent. I'm not going to tell you how much I made, but I did it was 23. I did a 23,000% on AMC swing once. back when it was freaking ripping. So, yeah, I mean, but that was an anomaly, guys. I mean, AMC and GME were kind of a one-time anomaly. 23, it was 23,000%, dude. 23,000. It was 23,000%.
I think I had that until Robinhood like blocked me from selling.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had many I mean, when you think about 10,000% or 23,000%, guys, like 23,000%, I think the contract was like, I bought it for like 33 cents. 33 cents. I bought like 5 of them, and yeah, I made a fucking killing. But I mean, 23,000% of $30. I think it was, I think I made like 16 or 18 grand, something like that. I can't remember.
I mean, I'll tell you all, like, as far as the strat goes, that's all I really play from a strategy perspective. I've recently started trying these VWAP lines out. They work well, but I typically play SPY. That's really, like, what I do because I do have a day job. Playing strat patterns, if you stick with it, I would typically play the 15-minute. I've started trying the 5, but the 15-minute up to about like 2 weeks ago is what I strictly played. And when I did play something, a pattern on the 15, I was talking about like 200-300% bangers on spot. That's it. I mean, like, I'm talking after money call. Like, I see a reversal happen on the 15. I would jump in. Sure, it's late because I'm looking at a 15 on a 5 minute chart. But, I mean, all of a sudden I see a 200-300% move. The fact is it works. Price action is a thing. It exists, and you can't deny it.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, for sure. And for those of you that are still on here, guys, about 2 years ago I lost 60 grand. You know, following some other guru. I'm just telling you. It took me about 14 months to make 60 grand back. Yeah, I lost 60,000 bucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's real. Like, I mean, that's what we want to do. We want to teach you. We don't want to tell you what to trade. We want to teach you what to trade. That's, I think, the big difference here between what you're probably used to in other discords and what we're gonna do. Like, yeah, we'll say like, hey, you know, I did on Friday, like Microsoft, whatever call, I can't even remember anymore. But I had people straight up in the Discord say like, why did you enter that? You know, like, tell me why. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot. You're right. I didn't have a lot of time to type it because it happened so quickly. But, you know, we entered on this. Here's why. This is, you know, what we're doing. You know, we want to educate you to, you know, again, I think, you know, some other people say it well, but we want to teach you to fish. And then that only makes this community better. So please, you know, help us, you know, grow the Discord, invite your friends, convert them to the strat. We want to be a cult so that, you know, ultimately when we sacrifice children, you know, we just want to grow this thing. And we want to help everybody make some money so that we can all go on a fun vacation together.
Yep, we'll kill it. And I mean, that's exactly what Zilla just said. I mean, we just want to teach people and learn. I'm not a bragger, guys. It's just not my mentality and my style. So, I mean, I have no problem admitting when I've lost, but I'm not going to talk about my wins. I just want to help.
I just want to trade the SPY. That's all I want to do. Trade the SPY.
That's the way to go, man. Especially new people want to learn price action, trade the SPY.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll get better about swapping in the main trader, like the day trader role. Like, make sure you pick that up, right? Go to the welcome channel, pick the day trader role up. I'll be better about posting my SPY plays in there when I do play SPY. And it's not every day, trust me. So yeah, go make sure you pick your role in the welcome channel.
All right, guys. Any other questions?
Yeah. So, not getting into percent or anything, but like, what's a good, like, of course, everyone wants 100% winning rate, but what's a good winning rate and how much? Because if you win 80% of the time, but you make on average 100, lose 20%, but lose 500, overall it's a loss. So, what's a good winning rate versus return rate when you consider yourself like a successful trader?
I mean, the honest answer is if you've got if you can have a tight tight stops and use the system and stick to the system. I mean, you can be 50% win rate and make an extremely amount of money because if you have those 10, 20% stops, sometimes 30% stops. I mean, you're going to hit the 40, 50, 100%, 80%, trades. I mean, that's just how it's going to be if you stick to the tight stops. Money management is the key to trading, guys. I mean, I have no secrets. I mean, as far as how I do things, I manage my money every day.
Right. Let me throw some finance at it here, and it's not even finance. It's just like typical budgeting. All right. So let's say you get on a SPY play. It doesn't even matter what you're playing. It costs you $100. Okay. Immediately, you're betting $100. But what you have is a safety net of let's say a 20% stop loss. So what you're doing is you're putting the bet in for $100, but you're saying if my bet that I'm throwing $100, but if my bet becomes worth $80, get out. So technically you're only risking $20. However, if my bet becomes worth $180, you have nothing on the other side saying get me out, right? That's so what I just described as a stop loss. So you set a stop loss when you place that order for $100 of in this case 20%. So you're saying again, if my bet loses 20% value, I'm freaking out. However, if it gains 20% value, I'm in it. If it goes to 40%, which now we're talking about $140, I'm in it. If it goes to $300, I'm still in it, right? Like you have managed your money. Like you technically you've screwed it. You're not going to Vegas and betting $20 on a blackjack game anymore. You're going to Vegas and betting, $5 with a safety net of $1. $4. I'm sorry. So like you're only losing $1 on your bet. Like I mean, Vegas doesn't give you those kind of odds. You have that ability with every single trade that you do. So keep that in mind. So you're not risking $100 on a trade. You're risking 20. All right, you're risking $20 to make an infinite amount of money, and that's the key to stop losses. Now, if you want to make that if you want to convert that to a trailing stop loss, the same rule applies. When you initially put that bet in, you're risking $20 to make an infinite amount of money. Like $100 is the buy-in, but you're only risking 20. Okay, so that's what's important. What you're all of a sudden, so you're risking 20, but it's easier now to make the 40, make the 80. So now you turn your risk reward of 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 1 to 20. I mean, like it just keeps going and going and going. As long as you enter a trade with a stop loss. Now, I point that out because if you don't enter a trade with a stop loss, it becomes an emotional trade. That is what I've come to find after like 10 years of trading. Like I've placed many orders without putting an automatic stop loss in. And all of a sudden I sit here and look at a chart and say like, I think it might reverse. And I still do to this day. Like, it might reverse. Now, the orders that I've put in with an automatic stop loss or I've placed them, like, I don't know if, like, I don't think Webull or, I know Robinhood doesn't let you do it, but if you put an order in, you immediately just go in there and say 20% stop loss or 30% stop, whatever your risk tolerance is. You put a stop loss in there automatically and don't even look at it again. Now, keep an eye on, which way it goes, obviously, but never remove that stop loss. That is your, like, safe, that is you're a trapeze artist, and you need that net there. That's what you want. You need that. Because all of a sudden, your trade is no longer emotional. It's statistical. It's calculated. It's mathematics. Like, just never remove that stop loss. And don't get me wrong, guys. I still do. Like, I still get emotional about it. Like, yeah, I'm looking at this. It's about to bounce off VWAP. I'm gonna remove that stop loss I put in. But don't. Like, if the trade's going against you, get the fuck out. Save your money. Just survive another day. Like, that's how you survive, especially on a small account. Okay? So just keep that stuff in mind. Like, stop losses are key in this game.
Well, the other thing too, guys, is let's say you got like $1,000 account. You need to buy the same amount for every trade option amount you're going in for every trade. So whether that's $50 or $100. So you don't need, like, you shouldn't be buying one play shouldn't be 200 and the next one should not be 100. You got to keep that around the same consistent amount. So if you're looking at like, once again on a small account, you shouldn't be buying Tesla or any of the big stuff. So, and if you're playing SPY, play them, closer to a 0 DTE or the next day and try to buy those $100 contracts and play one at a time. And honestly, guys, if you're newer, you might want to stick to the airlines and your hotels and your Dow stocks to try to build up your account. And then
we do a good job. We do a good job of calling out Dow. Like that's a big thing. Yeah, we love them. We love them here.
And then on Thursdays and Fridays, we can we'll look at the bigger name stocks for cheaper contracts, and that's where you can start making some good money. And the other thing is, guys, you don't have to play the stock market every day. It's just, and one thing, I don't know if you've been in my live. I mean, there's some days I'm on there for 40 minutes, and some days I'm there almost 2 hours. Once I've made the money and found the plays, I'm done. It's just, there's no reason for me to trade at all the rest of the day.
Some of the stocks that I play, and contracts is mostly what I do, and they're cheap contracts. Kroger, UNG, I'm in Wish, I'm in Weight Watchers, I'm in TSN, Tyson, and DNN. Those are the only ones that that I want to afford without dumping a whole bunch of money into the market, because I'm still not ready yet, but I'm getting there. I just don't have the time to sit and watch. You know what I mean? So I like to just play some contracts.
Definitely, and that was one of the main purposes behind the alerts. Right? When we made the alerts, like I was focusing on SPY, Dow, DIA, and QQQ. And those were the only three things that I had alerting, right, when there was an actual setup. And then I decided to open the Discord up to people, and then, people started joining, and I started getting a lot of other, like, hey, can you add this, can you add that? Sure, no problem. Like, what you just described is exactly what those alerts are made for. You have some things that you play, and the 15-minute flip is about to happen, the 30-minute flip is about to happen, the hour, and so on. Go and look at those alerts, and I mean, you're already probably looking at the chart, sure, but like, go look at those alerts and see what kind of setup's actually happening, especially in those other things that could be affecting your stocks, right?